Call of Duty is one of my favorite games of all time, and there have been over 20 mainline installments of the series. But with so many games stretched across over 20 years worth of releases, it brings up the question of, are these games even playable anymore? Do these games still have their own little communities, or are they completely abandoned? Well, that's what we're going to find out in today's video. My name is Prematch. If you love old school Call of Duty content just like this, then you already know to be sure to subscribe. But without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to rate each Call of Duty between one of three grades. It's going to be alive and well, on life support, or completely dead. Starting off with the first ever Call of Duty. So when it comes to the first Call of Duty game, there is no way that you can just use the in-game matchmaking system. You have to use a server browser, and all of these servers are independently ran, and they're basically empty for the most part. But even if you find a server that has people in it, when you go to select it and join it, it will most likely pop up an error that is telling you that you have to download certain mods or certain maps or whatever. It's just really difficult to get a match started on the original Call of Duty game. Basically, all of these servers are modded and will require you to download mods. And even if you find a bot lobby, the bots don't even act right. They just run up against the wall over and over again, and they'll constantly be shooting at nothing. So you're basically just shooting a bunch of dummies who don't even fight back. It is also the same way on the United Offensive expansion pack, which also has its own multiplayer. So yeah, basically the first Call of Duty game is dead. It's not even on life support. There's nobody playing this anymore. And if there are, please let me know where to find them, because I just did not see them on the servers at all. So Call of Duty 2 was actually the first Call of Duty to ever be on the Xbox 360. And there is an even better matchmaking system on this game as well from the first COD. So you'd think it would be easier to find people, but not really. This game is almost dead. And I say almost dead because I did eventually find someone to play with. So thank you to Alt Carrot. Thank you so much for joining me so I could get some gameplay for this. And what I noticed is throughout my past few weeks of playing this game, there seems to be a bit of a very small community of people. I mean, literally like maybe 10 or less people who still go back to play this game. I would hit this guy up right here on Xbox 360, and look, I'm not doxing him or anything, because his bio literally says to hit him up for COD 2. So if you guys want to play COD 2, hit him up. So unless you have like some type of organized match going on, it looks like you're basically going to have a 1v1 after waiting for about 30 minutes for someone to join. So in all reality, is this game dead? I guess it's technically not, because there is a group of people that are still playing it. So I'm going to put it on life support, but it is very close to being dead. On the PC version of Call of Duty 2, things get a little bit weird. Not only are there a lot of mods, like as you can see here, I have these crazy looking modern weapons in a World War II game, but the bots will actually fight back against you, and it looked like there actually were a good amount of players on the servers when I was scrolling through the server browser. So maybe Call of Duty 2 on the PCs were to find people, but basically all of these games are modded matches, so if that's not your thing, then you probably should stay away from it. But going over to Call of Duty 3, we actually did find some people in a public match. We got a 2v2 going on, and this was actually the first mainline Call of Duty that was not made for the PC. So if you do want to find people playing this game, you're going to have to most likely play it on Xbox. I'm not sure of the current status of the PS3 servers, but in terms of the first three Call of Duty games, Call of Duty 3 seems to be the one that is the most populated, with people joining in and out of lobbies non-stop. You don't have to wait for a very long time to find one person to play against like Call of Duty 2, and the servers don't seem to be independently ran like Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2 on the PC, for example. But is this game dead or alive? To be honest, I feel like this game is on life support. There seems to always be 2 or 3 people playing this game at once, and every once in a while you'll get spikes of maybe 8 or 10 people, but in all reality, it's not really alive and well, but it's also not completely dead either. But on Call of Duty 4, we actually did find a lobby fairly quickly, however, it was just a 3v3. Now, the match at first seemed to be going fine, but as the match went on, I noticed that there were some connection issues. I would get a 2-bar for some reason and then jump right back up to a 4-bar every once in a while. I'm not sure if this was an actual latency problem, or if this was just an issue with my connection to the server itself. Now, I'm not going to act like I know anything about what I just said, because I don't, but it seemed like it was just a little bit off for me. But I think that the other players were feeling it too, considering the fact that it turned into a 1v2 because the other players left the game. Yes, we did find a match quickly, but the connection issues and the fact that people were just leaving the game because of it, yeah, I don't know if I can consider this game alive and well. I'm also going to consider this one to be on life support. Not completely dead because we did find people, just not alive and well at all. But unlike Call of Duty 4, World at War was a completely different story. This game was definitely alive. Not only was the player count relatively high, considering the fact that this game was made in 2008, but you could also find people on a variety of different game modes. Not just Team Deathmatch, but you can also find people almost every single night playing War. Not to be confused with Call of Duty World War II's version of War, I'm pretty sure that this game is the only one that has this mode. If you ever want to play this game mode on World at War on Xbox, be sure to add this guy right here, Spartan Leo 213. He is infamously known for spamming invites to all of his recent players to get people to play this game mode with him. So, yeah, I'm going to shout this guy out. I know that he's actually a little bit known in terms of the World at War Xbox community for this reason, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a shout out here. Now, every once in a while, you can also find some lobbies on other modes like Free-for-All and Hardcore Team Deathmatch, but those are a little bit more rare. You're typically only going to find Team Deathmatch and also War during the right times of the night. So yeah, this game, in my opinion, is definitely not dead. I don't even think it's on life support. Yes, the player count is not the highest ever, but the fact that it has a sense of community with players returning over and over again, and there are actively people playing this game almost 24/7, I'm going to consider this game to be alive and well. I've actually been re-grinding this multiplayer, and I can confidently say that I have no issues finding matches on Call of Duty World at War. Now, although the player counts for Modern Warfare 2 are no longer working, I can tell you that this is definitely one of the more alive Golden Age Call of Duties. As you can see here, I almost instantly found a domination lobby. Now, as long as you're not playing in the middle of the night or anything, you will be able to find lobbies of Team Deathmatch, Free-for-All, Domination, and Search and Destroy almost instantly. I was also even able to find matches of Headquarters and Capture the Flag as well during a Modern Warfare 2 revival night. The fact that this game has this sense of community and has players across all these different modes proves to me that this game is 100% alive and well. But it does not come without a huge issue, and that issue is the hacker trickshotter guys who take over the Team Deathmatch lobbies. It is super unfortunate that these guys do this. They will literally hijack an entire TDM and just turn it into a trickshot lobby, where if you start killing them while they're trying to trickshot you, then they're just going to blow you up with kill streaks over and over again that they hacked for themselves. It's super unfortunate that this is the case for this game, and they definitely are the scummiest people that you can play against. Shame on them. You can always hop on to Domination or something and play something different, but the Team Deathmatch lobbies are a huge hit or miss because of these scumbags. But other than that, in terms of this day and age, this is definitely one of the healthier CODs from the Golden Age. It is definitely alive and well in my opinion, but now let's move on to Black Ops 1. And unfortunately, in this game, the story is a little bit different. I don't personally think I've ever seen any hackers on this game at all, but that's not the problem you have to worry about. The main problem is just finding someone to play with. The player counts are definitely incorrect on this game because this was on a Saturday midday, and I literally had to wait forever to get a match started. But we eventually did get the minimum player count, which is 6, to get a match started. And after a while, we actually did get some more people to hop in this and join, but they didn't join until very late, so the vast majority of this game was just extremely slow. So it looks like, unfortunately, Black Ops 1 is on life support when it comes to the player counts. You can't play any other game mode but Team Deathmatch, and the Team Deathmatch is even a little bit of a hit or miss when it comes to finding people to play with. So now I will say that there have been times where I've randomly hopped on this game and I found a match immediately, but it seems to be a hit or miss considering the fact that I was searching on a Saturday at noon and I just could barely find people to play with. So for that reason, I'm not going to say that this game is alive and well. It is in fact on life support. Now, when it comes to Modern Warfare 3, I'm not sure if these player counts are working or not, but according to the player counts, there were actually people playing in the Face Off playlist, and it was actually trying to pair me up with the people that were searching. However, it never actually got me into a lobby, but it seemed like it was really trying to get it to happen. And believe it or not, I actually found a big lobby full of people playing Infected, which was pretty crazy to be honest, considering that most of these old CODs you really can only play 1 or 2 game modes, but this one, which is a party mode, seemed to be quite popular, which is a really good sign to show the healthiness of a game, considering the fact that a bonus party mode has players in it. And of course, you can also play Team Deathmatch, but it also seemed like you could play 2 other modes, which were Free-for-All and Hardcore Team Deathmatch. But the player counts are a little bit lower for those game modes, and it seems to be a bit more of a hit or miss from the standard TDM. So considering all of the different game modes that you can play, a bonus mode, there were even people in the face-off playlist, and the fact that you can play hardcore and regular Team Deathmatch, and maybe a free-for-all here and there, I'm going to consider Modern Warfare 3 to be alive. It seems like there are people on this game, not as much as Modern Warfare 2, but there still is an active community playing this game to this day. Definitely a lot more alive and well than the state of Black Ops 1. But unlike Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 is a lot more alive than that game. Because I found a Team Deathmatch almost immediately, and there were over 200 people, according to the player counts, that were searching for Team Deathmatches. You can basically find a Team Deathmatch 24/7, but if we're talking about other game modes like Free-for-All, Search and Destroy, and even a little bit of Domination in there, you're gonna have to play during peak hours, and this also applies to hardcore Team Deathmatch as well. The only problem with Black Ops 2 is that there is a big hacker problem, but other than that, I would say that Black Ops 2, in terms of player counts, is definitely alive and well, and it is one of the more populated older Call of Duties. But Call of Duty Ghost is not like Black Ops 2 in terms of a good player count. It does say that there's 90 people playing, but then it says there's only 60 people playing Team Deathmatch, which is the only mode that has people in it. So I'm assuming that the other 30 people are in private matches or something. But yeah, when it comes to Call of Duty Ghost, all you can really play is Team Deathmatch. If you're not playing this during peak hours, you're basically not going to find a lobby, and even if you do find a lobby, it's going to be the minimum of 6 players, and Call of Duty Ghost has some pretty big maps, so it really just is not worth playing unless you're playing during, again, the peak hours. It's also important to mention that this is the last Call of Duty that has a working player count in terms of how many players are actually online. Eventually, we would see a different change up with this, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, this game is basically on life support. You can really only play Team Deathmatch. So Advanced Warfare does not have working player counts, but it does not even matter because the only mode that you can find anyone playing nowadays is Team Deathmatch, and there's not even that many people playing it. I struggled to find the minimum requirement of players to start a match. Eventually I did find it, but it took forever. Now I know that this game is over 10 years old now, but it is kind of strange to see such a low player count. You would expect to see this kind of player count out of a game like Call of Duty 2 or Call of Duty 3, something really old, but I guess this is old now and there's just not that many people playing it anymore. I just find it weird because Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2, basically every game that's around this has some type of player base, except this game. Maybe people just don't have much of an attachment to this one as they do the other ones. I don't know. But from my experience of trying to find lobbies on Advanced Warfare over the past few weeks, it just seems abandoned to me. But I guess I did find some people, so I'll throw it in the life support category. So Black Ops 3 is definitely not an abandoned game like Advanced Warfare, but there is just a lot of server issues with this game. It takes forever to find a match, but not because there's a low amount of players, it's because the servers just take forever to connect you to the game. And the matchmaking is just terrible. Sometimes you will be loading into a game, but only half of the players in the lobby will make it into the game, and sometimes your party's gonna get split up, and other times the match just does not even start and you'll be stuck on the countdown timer forever. But if you can ignore the terrible server issues that this game has on the Xbox, you can actually play every single mode today. And that's because they added a featured playlist which has a different game mode every single week, and it is still actually populated. As you can see here, we're playing Kill Confirmed. I cannot express how great of a decision it was to add this featured mode that changes every week, because it effectively makes it to where every single mode mode will have a time to shine. I think if it wasn't for the featured mode playlist, then basically everybody would be stuck on Team Deathmatch. So yes, definitely a great decision by them to do this. And because of that, I'm going to consider this game to be alive and well. But if you want to play Black Ops 3 and not worry about all those server issues that were on Xbox, if you have a PC, you can play the CleanOps T7 patch, which actually has a server browser on it, and as you can see here, there's people from all around the world playing matches on Black Ops 3, and all you gotta do is click, and then you can simply join it. When you played this version, you won't have to worry about being hit offline or anything, and you also get DLC weapons and DLC camos and stuff spoofed for free as well, which is pretty cool. However, this is only for the PC, like I said before, so sorry if that's not you. So Infinite Warfare has no indication to us to let us know what players are playing what modes at what time. There is no player count in Infinite Warfare. There's not even the percentage thing like Black Ops 3 has, making it to where everybody sort of defaults to Team Deathmatch because you don't know what other people are playing. And this would be the beginning of there just never being any type of player indication at all, whether it is an actual number or a percentage. So I tried to find people playing on other modes, however, I could only find Team Deathmatches, and this game is a little weird because there's actually a community of people that play this game, and this game only, which might sound kind of crazy, and these people literally are amazing at Infinite Warfare. If you hop on Xbox Infinite Warfare today, you might run into them. There are groups of people that will run 6-mans, 4-mans, and they will just stomp you. It's absolutely crazy. They never left Infinite Warfare from way back in the day, but I thought that would be a cool little thing to mention. There is a sense of community on Infinite Warfare today. And because of that community, I'm going to consider Infinite Warfare to be alive and well, but it's very close to that life support. Call of Duty World War II. So for those who don't know, this game was actually recently added to the Game Pass, which makes this game available to basically every Xbox player for free. And that is pretty cool because it actually affects the player counts of this game across the different modes. As you can see here, I actually managed to find some people playing War, not to be confused with the World at War's version of War. That is a lot of wars. Anyway, yes, I actually did find some people playing this game mode. Of course, you can still find your typical team deathmatches like you see here, and you can also find domination lobbies. I tried to search for Search and Destroy, I just couldn't find enough people to start a match, but it seems like maybe you could play that during like hit or miss times or something, but it seemed like you could play War, Team Deathmatch, and Domination when it comes to Call of Duty World War II. And because this game was recently added to the Game Pass, there seems to be a lot more players, a lot more new players as well, and the fact that you can play multiple different modes, I'm going to consider Call of Duty World War II to be alive and well. But Black Ops 4, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the heck's going on with this game, because I searched for Heist, which is not a typical mode. It's basically a game exclusive mode, so maybe that's why people are still playing it to this day or something. But I managed to find a match of Heist immediately. However, the minimum player count to start a match is 10 players. What were you thinking, Treyarch? When this game gets old, it's probably going to have a harder time finding 10 people sometimes. So it just seems stupid. You'll literally be sitting there forever if you have like 7 or 8 or even 9 players just waiting for one more guy to show up. I tried to find people on other modes, and we would always have this problem of having like 5 or 6 people just waiting for the match to start by getting more players, and it would just never happen. So I'm going to consider this game alive and well, but I don't know if it really deserves it. We have officially reached the Warzone modern-ish era of COD that you can say where everything drastically changed with Modern Warfare 19. Now, what makes this game and all the other ones that we're going to cover from now on so different is the fact that there is a game mode filter that players can apply for quick play. Now, I'm sure that some people have this set to very specific game modes, but I would say that the majority of people probably just have Team Deathmatch on, because that seemed to be the thing that I found the most of. I was also able to find some Search and Destroy matches as well, but I'm pretty sure that that's the only modes that you can really play on this game. Even with the quick play filter on, I just kept getting Team Deathmatch over and over again. And again, there are no player counts in these CODs, so I'm not sure how many people are playing, but from what I saw, it seemed to be alive and well, so I guess I'll give it that. But since we're talking about the newer Call of Duties, I'm going to say something about basically every single game from Cold War all the way up to Black Ops 6, and that is, you can basically find people playing every single mode for the most part. Yes, you might have to wait a little bit longer for the more obscure modes, but for your basic domination, hardpoint, team deathmatch, search and destroy, you will be able to find matches relatively quickly. And I think it all comes down to the fact that they have the quick play feature that basically has every single mode by default already selected. And I feel like most casual people just kind of hop on for quick play and they don't necessarily pick specific game modes to filter out. So for the most part, you can really play every mode when it comes to these games. I still don't think that the quick play thing is the best way to go when it comes to keeping these other modes filled up with players. I think that Black Ops 3's weekly featured mode that changes every week is exactly how it should be done, because it makes every game mode still played, but it makes it fresh every single week, and it has players anticipating what the next mode is going to be, because it is random. So yeah, when it comes to Cold War, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 22, Modern Warfare 23, and Black Ops 6, you could just about find every game mode that you want to play. Maybe there's a couple of exceptions, like maybe people aren't playing like Demolition or something, but for the most part, you're going to find people across all the modes, and of course, all of those games are alive and well. Thank you all so much for watching, everyone. This video was really fun to make. It was fun to go back and see which games you could actually still play, what modes you could play on each game, but other than that, please be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content, and I'll see y'all in the next one.